What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're doing the Singapore Grand Prix for F1 2016 career mode. As you can see, we're still holding down 10th place in the driver's standings, which at the moment is an absolutely unbelievable position to be in this championship. Coming into this Singapore round, we have some upgrades coming on the car. That is reduced drag, so that's going to provide like a 3 or 4% kind of reduction in drag, so it's got 2.5%. So, still okay. But either way, it's still going to make the car a little bit more slippery in a straight line, more efficient when we get to those higher speed tracks, maybe Suzuka, when we get to Mexico, that really long straight there. It's going to be very helpful, but here we are for the Singapore Grand Prix. High downforce, traditionally a track that's not going to suit what we're doing here at Manor. You know, normally this car kind of suits the medium downforce kind of tracks, the ones that have lots of long straights. But this one, there is definitely not many of those. So Singapore, it's going to be a tough old round, especially if we're going to be running in the kind of conditions that we are now, full wet conditions. I have this kind of running joke on my channel that like Singapore heavy rain is the absolute worst thing you can do in a Formula 1 game. And I was just not keen at all to do any running in that first practice session. I limited it purely to just doing the track acclimatization test, got the points, and then I bailed out of that session. I did not want to do any more laps there because when you get to Singapore, it's all low-speed corners and you really have to modulate the throttle to look after the rear tires. And when it comes to wet conditions, that's literally all you're doing. Your foot becomes numb from all the modulating you're having to do there. But end of the tire wear test, we have an almighty tank slapper through the final corner, completely ruined the tire wear, you know, for the final lap there. But we still got a purple score, and that's the end of practice. So, time for quali.
The sky is dark and the lights are on. Welcome to qualifying here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore.
A bit of telltale signs there that this round here in Singapore might not be a fruitful one for us. We also did some qualifying pace runs. I didn't manage to actually pass the objective there, and in that second practice session, Pascal got inside the top 10, whereas I was like down in the mid-teens there. So looks like Pascal has the edge over me at the moment. I've decided to do a run on the super soft tires just to get my eye in before we put on the crucial ultra soft tires, which are going to be the faster compound anyway. So here we go for our first run on ultra soft tires, and we're 7/10 up at the moment on our previous best. Bear in mind, the first lap was really just a cider lap, you know, getting my eye in once again, because when I got to qualifying, it was the start of a new day for me, and I wasn't exactly like fully in the rhythm of the game again, so I really had to, you know, get those extra laps to build up my pace again. But as you can see here, this ultra soft lap is looking much better already, 1.9 seconds faster in our previous lap. So this is going to be an absolute stonker here. Through the final corner, open the DRS as soon as it's available. We move up into position 15, and that was an improvement by 2.1 seconds. 2.1 seconds from one lap to another, comparing the two compounds. And again, Pascal absolutely nailing it over the course of one lap. 11th place at the moment, and really knocking on the door of the top 10 there. So heading into the final runs, Pascal could potentially get himself a top 10 effort here in qualifying. I'm going to venture out again to see if I can improve, even by a few tenths. That'll make a massive difference. The gaps in the lower midfield are really close, so any kind of improvements you can make are going to make a huge difference. So final lap of the session, the checkered flag is out. We make contact there with the wall. I had to check immediately if I had any damage to the front wing. Thankfully enough, no damage conceded there, so we just carry on with our lap as quickly as we can. So we're 3.5, almost 4/10 up on this lap, so that's going to move us up a couple of positions and be really knocking on the door of the top 10 there, right up there with Pascal, who is still in 11th place at the end of the session here. So you can see, closing up the lap now, there's a Mercedes closing us up, which is not a good sign for our pace. We're not going to be anywhere near pole today. I wasn't expecting that. Contact with the wall as we brushed up against it through the penultimate corner and through the final, up to the line. Do we improve? Yes, we do. I think it's 12th place, and that's going to put us right behind our teammate, Pascal Wehrlein. Wow. I thought it was going to be close with Pascal there. Turns out we set the exact same time as our teammate there. That is incredible. I've never done that before. I've never set the exact same time as my teammate before. We know in F1 2016, the rivalry between myself and Pascal is going to be real, but I wasn't expecting it till Season 2. That's an unbelievable effort from Pascal to end up where he did, and just like amazing that we ended up with the exact same lap time. That's amazing. I don't think that'll ever happen again in a career mode. So there we go. It's 12th place for the Singapore Grand Prix. I'm pretty happy with that. You can see the progress we're slowly making here at Manor. And yeah, it's good signs for the future rounds that we're able to get a result like this at a track where we're not so supposed to be near the front. So I'll definitely take that. It's time for the race now for the Singapore Grand Prix.
As the sun sets over the South China Sea, the sport that never sleeps is alert and raring to go. Welcome, under the bright lights of the Marina Bay circuit, to another Singapore Grand Prix. It's a very long, very physical lap, this one, and really there's not much in the way of margin for error. So we have a bit of an endurance race for you tonight.
You know what, Crofty? I'm pretty happy to be up here in my air conditioning, thank you, right now. I can't stress just how difficult these conditions can be, especially when you consider it's the longest race on the calendar in terms of time. It's also one of those races where you have to remember to keep drinking, or there's a real risk of dehydration, just like we saw with young Kevin Magnussen a couple of years ago, don't forget.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Okay, so here we are on the grid of the Singapore Grand Prix, starting from 12th place. 11th and 12th for Manor is probably the best place to be in terms of setting up your race. We can start on any tyres we want, so we're going to opt to start on the super soft tyres. I believe my teammate Pascal is on the exact same strategy as I am. And also, going back to qualifying, Max Verstappen managed to get pole position for this race, so it's going to be very interesting to see whether the Red Bull can hold on to its first place position at the moment. But looks like we're going to be coming into some track position after our first stint comes to an end, so it's going to be very interesting to see where we play into this race. If you didn't notice, it was very, very close in terms of doing the one stop or the two stop. I really thought about doing the two stop, but I just favoured having track position on my side. And since Pascal is doing the exact same thing, I think it might work for both of us here if we stick to the same strategy. So here we are for the Singapore Grand Prix. 5 red lights. And away we go for this race. It's us versus our teammate heading into turn 1. Perez gets a bit of a sluggish start, and Pascal is going to hang around the outside. We're going to stick to the inside, though, where there's a little bit more space. Contact up the front there with Rosberg, who I believe made contact with Hamilton there. So Rosberg, I believe he's lost his front wing or something like that. He's going very slowly, weaving all over the place, blocking both myself and Massa. Pascal actually was the major beneficiary from all of that. He moves into position 8. So he's got off to an absolutely flying start, and now I'm having to squabble these guys in the midfield here for 9th place. We take Massa up the inside into the first sector. I believe we were touched there by the Force India, and we hold on to position 9. So it's been a great start so far for both the Manor team cars. You know, every race I say, you know, Pascal just needs that really good start, and he could score himself some really decent points. And today, I really think it could be Pascal's day here, as we can see a yellow flag up ahead. Kimi Räikkönen is out of the Grand Prix, as you can see on the replay. Another engine failure. Unbelievable how many engine failures we've had so far in this 2016 Career Mode Championship. As you can see him stricken off to the right in the escape road. Unfortunately, no safety car for that incident. Really unfortunate. It's just like been unbelievable the amount of retirements I've had for engine failures versus you guys who say you've never ever seen an engine retirement so far in your career mode, which is quite outstanding. Meanwhile, we were looking at Pascal Wehrlein making up a position on, I think it was Carlos Sainz. And he moves into P5 or P4 or something like that. But it's going to be much better now, as all the leaders on their ultra soft tyres are making their first stops. So you could see a situation here very soon, once everyone makes their stops. We could see both Manor cars leading this Singapore Grand Prix. But I'm not going to hold my breath for too much longer, though. We're getting bamboozled here by a Force India. He goes up the inside. Bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there into this third sector right-hander. But we managed to get him back on the traction around the outside. And lap 9 here, something amazing has happened. One of the leaders here has made their stop. I think it was Ricardo. But now we have 2 Manors, 1-2 in this Grand Prix. Make a note of this, guys. This is history-making stuff. 2 Manor cars are leading a Formula 1 race. How long before we actually legitimately lead a race and possibly get a 1-2? It could be months. It could be weeks. It could be a couple of days. You never know with this game. But either way, lap 12, we're coming towards the end of our tyre cycle here as Hulkenberg behind me was doing a really good job. He was on the ultra soft tyres, kind of holding back the leaders who were right behind me. Now he's stopped, and it's kind of left me exposed to Verstappen, who is the effective race leader. He goes up the inside. He's on ultra soft tyres again for another stint, which is quite interesting. Vettel up the inside, locks up the right front tyre, but manages to avoid contact with us, which I really appreciate. But unfortunately, I lost that track position to Verstappen. I was trying to, hold as much track position as I could, but I wasn't going to battle anyone. I was going to draw the line at that. I was still running my own race, even though I was helping Pascal. I was still going to run my own race and just try and hold up the cars behind me, because I could be coming back towards these guys, or I could have track position again at the end of the race, because I'm doing a one-stop and these guys will have to overtake me. So the longer I can keep these guys behind me, the easier it's going to be for me to finish in front of these guys in this race, especially Pascal, who is 15 seconds up the road. So he could be potentially finishing on the podium today. That's how serious our effort is, our strategy is today in this Singapore Grand Prix. Only a few other cars as well with us doing the one stop, so it could be the one, it could be the winner here. But lap 14, you can see we're really starting to struggle here on our super soft tyres, and I'm coming in now at the very earliest opportunity. Lap 14 is when the pit window opens, and I'm coming straight in for a set of soft compound tyres, which are subsequently the hardest compound available for the Singapore Grand Prix. So we're going to run this tyre to the end of this race. Ericsson has come in with me, and so too has a Haas, I believe. So hopefully we can jump ahead of those guys. But no, it's been a really slow stop there. Had to wait for the Haas, and then because we were held up for so long, Ericsson was right behind him, and we had to wait for him as well. So that was really, really unfortunate. Lost so much time there. There's Pascal, the race leader, making his stop on the very next lap. And he's rejoined around the likes of Carlos Sainz and the Force India. So he's rejoined in P7 there, with everyone around him still yet to make one more stop. So we may see a situation later on in this race where Pascal is leading the Grand Prix once again. So we'll have to wait and see. Singapore is traditionally a harder track to overtake than most, but it's not the hardest in the world, but it's still quite easy to hang on to track position, as you guys saw with me on my older soft compound tyres. So I don't know, I'm going to back Pascal to finish on the podium in this race, but he's got a lot of work to do yet. So up the inside of Ericsson here into the left-hander, massive lockup. I missed my braking marker literally just by 5, maybe 10 meters, and that was the difference. Ericsson got back in front of us. We had to wait one more lap to catch up to him once again, and now you can see we're all over him once more. The Sauber and also the Haas and the Renault, one of the few cars that are actually slower than us in this Formula 1 grid, so it is much easier to overtake those guys in some of these races.
Engine is showing small signs of wear. Power output will be down.
And there's that time in the race where the engineer comes over the radio and tells me that we're lacking power at the back end of the race. This happens every single race. I haven't spoke about it so far in this Career Mode Championship, I don't believe, but it happens every single Grand Prix. In the final stint, we lose engine performance, and it really makes a massive difference in our race. You can see we just get outpaced there by Perez, who was on the super soft tyres, fresher ones at that as well, so we couldn't really compete with him. We carry on to lap 23 here. Jenson Button makes his pit stop, and that promotes us inside the point. So at this stage, I'm just trying to circle along as best I can, hoping that more cars in front of us make their stops. I was holding ground quite well to Esteban Gutierrez, who was behind me. I made about a 3 or 4 second gap, and then Valtteri Bottas got in front of him, and he's really caught me up in the last couple of laps. But now it's the final lap of the Grand Prix. The fireworks are going off. Max Verstappen has actually held on to win the Singapore Grand Prix. So it's going to be interesting to see where Pascal is in this race. I have absolutely no idea, but we come up to the line and finish inside the points, only just.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with our performance.
Brilliant stuff from Red Bull today. What a superb victory. And I can see now the drivers are making their way out. We need Red Bull fighting at the front. They do an incredible amount for Formula 1. And that's another winner's trophy heading back to Milton Keynes.
So Max Verstappen wins. Pascal Wehrlein, oh, so close to finishing on the podium in this 2016 Formula 1 career mode. He has leveled my best effort so far this season. I believe I got 4th place at Monaco, and Pascal has just equalized that at the Singapore Grand Prix. That's incredible. He was only, wow, 3/10? 3/10 away from passing Lewis Hamilton, so maybe Hamilton got him on the final lap of the Grand Prix or something like that. But it's P10 for us, and really solid points for Manor Mercedes in the Constructors fight. So I will take that any day of the week. Right from the outset of this weekend, I didn't have the pace to match it with Pascal Wehrlein. He was in front of me in just about all sessions apart from qualifying, where we managed to equal his time exactly. But even then, he still finished in front of us in qualifying. So, you know, man of the match performance for Pascal Wehrlein there. I did my best to not only help him, but I helped myself by, you know, running my own race and staying out long on the super soft tyres and holding up the guys behind me. But still, you know, lapping quick enough to the point where I was still able to finish inside the points. I think today was a really good drive. We moved up 2 spots at a track where I wasn't feeling, you know, really on top of my game. I think it was a little bit of an off day for me. But to still come away with some solid points at a track where we shouldn't have really done well, I will definitely take that. In the driver's standings, we still hold on to position 10, although Fernando Alonso made some really solid gains in today's Grand Prix. He got position 6 or something like that, so really solid points. He's just 4 points behind me in the driver's standings. In the constructors, like I said, it's going to be very close. There's a bit of a rivalry going on between Manor and McLaren, because Fernando Alonso is really close to me behind me in the drivers, but Jenson Button is just behind Pascal Wehrlein in the drivers as well, so it's a really tight battle between both Manor Mercedes drivers and McLaren Honda drivers. So here we are at the end of the episode. Now we're going to upgrade the fuel efficiency, and this will be the final upgrade for the season, because now we have the option to cease R&D for the rest of the season, and by doing this we're going to benefit ourselves for next season, where we're going to have bonuses for all resource points we earn for the rest of the season. So when we get to season 2, we're going to go on a massive spending spree, and we're going to upgrade the hell out of this car to make it really, really close to like the Ferrari, well, I don't know, Ferrari, who's at the top of the order now. I'd probably say we'd be around Toro Rosso, maybe Red Bull, if we can get some substantial upgrades on the car and really build up that bank of resource points. So that's been this episode for today, the Singapore Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Smash the like button if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2016 videos. And until the next race, guys, which will be Malaysia. Weird that Malaysia is near the end of the season. Traditionally not a strong track, but for the Manor, I think it's going to be pretty good. So until then, guys, I'll see you next time.